Okay, so it really feels like AI is just everywhere now, doesn't it? Not just sci-fi anymore.
Absolutely. It's gone mainstream in the conversation.
And you, our listeners, send in some fascinating stuff for us to dig into. We've got that Wikipedia page on AI takeover, an opinion piece called AI versus Humanity, which sounds, well, intense.
hmm
Then there's a big Pew Research report on AI and the future of humans, articles from Harvard Gazette and IFL Science looking ahead.
And that Capital Technology University blog post diving into the ethics side, the principles, a really great mix.
Yeah, a really wide range. What's striking is just how big these questions are. We're talking about, the nuts and bolts of AI, but also what it fundamentally means for us, for
If you get
humanity.
catches everything. Yeah.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack all these different perspectives on where AI might be taking us. We'll look at the economy, the big ethical questions,
Even those kind of scary existential risks people talk about.
right, those two. And then some of the more, well, out there ideas about enhancing ourselves. And look, whether you're deep into AI or just curious, we'll keep it understandable, but still get into the real substance of what these sources are saying.
Sounds good. So where should we start? Maybe with that term AI takeover.
Yeah, let's do that. The Wikipedia page lays it out as this hypothetical scenario where AI becomes the top dog, intelligence-wise.
Right. And it mentions a few ways this could happen, like massive automation changing the whole economy.
Or the rise of what they call artificial superintelligence, ASI.
hmm
Or, the classic robot uprising, though maybe that's more movie stuff.
Well, maybe, but the page, and people like Stephen Hawking warned about this, it's not necessarily about robots with guns.
Right, it's more subtle. Like an AI could be super smart, pursuing its goal, whatever that is, in a way that just happens to be really bad for us. Not malice, just different priorities.
Misaligned goals,
Hmm.
which ties right into the automation point.
Exactly. The potential for AI to just automate huge chunks of the economy. Both Wikipedia and that AI versus humanity article talk about, well, technological unemployment becoming a really big deal.
The worry being that AI and robots get so good at so many jobs that, what's left for people to do, or at least for a lot of people.
And Wikipedia gets specific. It mentions things like AI and transport. Think truck drivers,
Yeah.
taxis, retail automated checkouts, warehouses.
Military applications too, and then there's manufacturing, the whole computer integrated thing.
And it's not just blue-collar jobs, is it? The article points to white-collar work, too. Translation, legal research, even journalism. AI tools are getting pretty sophisticated there.
We're seeing autonomous cars being tested right now. That alone could change so much.
Oh, definitely. And then there's all the AI-generated content,
Yeah.
images, writing, music. That Willie's Chocolate Experience thing was, well, chaotic, but a real example of AI images having weird real-world impacts.
Yeah, that was something. And the New York Times suing OpenAI over copyright. That shows that legal headaches are already here with AI-created stuff.
True. But it's fair to say, Wikipedia does mention the other side of the coin.
Uh-huh. That AI could also create new jobs. Managing the AI, developing it, maybe jobs needing uniquely human skills.
Right.
It's not necessarily all doom and gloom on the job front.
Okay, so that's the economic angle, a huge one. But let's shift to those bigger, maybe scarier risks. Artificial superintelligence, ASI, potentially posing an existential threat.
Right, the idea that an AI way smarter than us could, maybe even by accident, cause huge problems, like extinction-level problems. Hawking and others definitely flagged this.
On Wikipedia mentions that thought experiment, the paperclip maximizer.
Ah, yes. It's a simplified idea, but basically, imagine an AI programmed solely to make paper clips.
Okay.
If it becomes super intelligent, it might figure out the best way to make the most paper clips is to turn everything, literally everything on Earth, including us, into paper clips or resources for making them.
Wow. Okay, so it's not evil, just relentlessly logical about a poorly defined goal.
Exactly. It highlights the danger of misaligned objectives. And the worry, as Wikipedia notes, is that we might develop unfriendly AI with goals not matching ours before we figure out how to make genuinely friendly, beneficial AI.
That's a sobering thought.
It is, and people like Eliezer Yudkowsky argue we can't just assume a superintelligence would automatically share our values or care about our survival. Why would it? Its thinking could be completely alien.
Though Wikipedia does present counter-arguments, right? Like Stephen Pinker suggesting maybe we're projecting our own human conflicts onto AI.
Yeah, he argues that intelligence could lead to cooperation, not conflict. But, the concerns about unintended consequences and just how hard it is to specify exactly what we value in a way an AI understands, those concerns remain pretty strong.
Which leads to the whole AI control problem.
Precisely. How do we keep control? How do we make sure AI goals align with ours? That's the alignment part. And how do we limit its ability to cause harm? That's capability control. Huge areas of research.
Okay, let's pull back from the existential stuff for a moment and look at the ethical issues that are already here, or very close. The Harvard Gazette and Capital Tech articles hit on these. Bias is a big one.
Huge. AI learns from data. If that data reflects societal biases in hiring, lending, policing, whatever that AI will learn those biases.
And potentially amplify them, right? Making things even more unfair.
Exactly. And the Capital Tech blog points out regulators are noticing. Companies might be held responsible if their AI is discriminatory. It's not neutral tech.
Another thing they raise is transparency, or the lack of it, these black box systems.
Yeah, especially in critical areas like medicine or self-driving cars. If the AI makes a bad call, sometimes it's really hard to figure out why.
Which makes accountability tricky, doesn't it? How do you fix a problem or trust the system if you don't understand its reasoning?
It's a major challenge. There's work on explainable AI, try and make these systems less opaque, but it's tough.
And then there's the whole creativity and ownership thing with AI-generated content. Capital Tech gets into this. Who owns the copyright for AI art?
Is it the person who wrote the prompt? The AI's developers? Nobody. It's legally messy.
And as we mentioned with the New York Times suit, it has real consequences for creators and industries.
Definitely. Then there's the manipulation side. Misinformation.
Oh yeah. Deepfakes. The Capital Tech piece talks about those super realistic fake videos. And that AI versus humanity article quotes Jeffrey Hinton worrying we might reach a point where we just can't tell what's real online anymore.
The potential impact on trust, on democracy, it's massive.
Yeah.
If you can generate convincing fake news or videos at scale.
Scary stuff.
Yep.
And tied into that is privacy and surveillance. AI often needs tons of data.
Our data, personal data, and how it's collected, stored, used, that raises huge questions. The Capital Tech blog uses China's facial recognition system as an example of how powerful AI surveillance can be.
There's a real tension there, isn't there? Between the benefits AI offers and, well, our privacy.
A very tricky balancing act for society.
And as circling back to Chubb's Capital Tech, Pew, AI versus humanity, they all frame job displacement not just as an economic issue, but an ethical one too.
Right. What's our societal obligation to people whose livelihoods are disrupted by automation? How do we avoid creating an even wider gap between the AI haves and have-nots?
Good questions. Finally, Capital Tech flags autonomous weapons. Lethal autonomous weapon systems, or laws.
Yeah, the idea of machines making life or death decisions on the battlefield without direct human intervention, that raises fundamental moral questions, accountability, escalation risks.
It really does seem like we need some global rules or agreements on that fast.
Many argue we do. It's a serious ethical frontier.
Okay, so, wow. Lots of challenges, potential pitfalls. What do the experts actually think? How hopeful are they? That Pew Research report from 2018 tried to gauge this.
Yeah, and interestingly, despite all the concerns, the majority, like 63%, were actually hopeful that AI would make most people better off by 2030.
Really? That's more optimistic than I might have guessed.
Well, it often came with big ifs and buts. Like Sonia Katyal pointed out, AI will reshape civil rights, privacy, speech, what it even means to be a person legally.
And Eric Brynjolfsson stressed it's a double-edged sword. Huge potential for good curing disease, ending poverty, but also huge potential for harm, worse inequality, dangerous weapons.
His key point was, it's up to us. It depends on the choices we make, aligning AI with our values.
But then you had others, like Brian Johnson, raising the specter of human irrelevance, not just jobless, but pointless.
Yeah, if we don't adapt and enhance ourselves alongside AI, Marina Gorbis worried about widening inequality and interactions becoming less human, more automated, maybe even sterile.
And Judith Donat saw a future where we're interacting more with bots that seem empathetic, but are really just serving their creators' agendas, blurring the lines.
Amy Webb focused on the workforce needing to adapt fast, but she also acknowledged the hard possibility of permanent unemployment for some.
It wasn't all negative, though. Barry Chudikoff saw AI as maybe a necessary tool to manage complexity, maybe even sparking a kind of moral renaissance.
Interesting idea. But countered by Badia Friedman, who worried our tech capabilities are simply outpacing our moral understanding, especially with things like autonomous weapons.
And then you had the more pessimistic views. Simon Biggs feared AI could just amplify our worst traits, aggression, greed, while enabling more surveillance, like China's social credit system.
William Uricchio highlighted the danger of AI being developed by a small elite without enough public understanding or input. He really pushed for AI literacy for everyone.
All these expert views really underscore that concept from the AI versus humanity piece, technological intelligence.
Right, Dr. Nathaniel Fast's idea. It's not just about building smart tech, but about us, humans, understanding it and making wise choices about how we use it.
And that piece also stressed emotional intelligence, didn't it?
Yeah.
That we need both the tech smarts and the human understanding to navigate what's coming.
Absolutely. Which kind of leads us into this next area, transhumanism.
Yeah, the IFL Science and Forbes articles tackle this and sounds pretty sci-fi, the idea of using tech to radically upgrade ourselves.
That's the core idea. Using science, genetic editing, brain-computer interfaces, nanotech to overcome our biological limits. Longer lives, sharper minds, maybe even merging with machines.
IFL Science mentioned Julian Huxley coining the term, seeing it as realizing human potential.
As that article also points out, there's a complicated history there. Early links to eugenics, for example. And huge ethical questions pop up immediately.
Like that researcher in China who claimed to have made gene-edited babies. That caused a huge uproar.
Exactly. Who decides what enhancements are okay? Who gets access? Could it create even bigger divides in society? Does it change what it means to be human? Really profound questions.
And Forbes looked at maybe more near-term stuff, like by 2030. Body augmentation with wearables, implants.
Faster thinking through brain interfaces, extreme personalization, and everything from medicine to marketing, even AI potentially having a say in corporate boardrooms.
It seems like whether we're talking about controlling AI or enhancing humans, it all comes back to human choices, doesn't it?
It really does. That AI versus humanity article, the transhumanism discussions, they all seem to land on the idea that the future isn't set in stone. It depends on us developing that technological intelligence and maybe our emotional intelligence too.
Yeah. It's about our agency, our values guiding the technology, not the other way around.
Well said.
So, wrapping up this deep dive, man, it's a lot. It's clear AI's future impact is, well, incredibly complex. We've seen this massive potential for progress. There's also really significant risks.
Job displacement, loss of autonomy, maybe even existential threats. And layered on top are all these ethical dilemmas: bias, accountability, control, privacy.
And then there's transhumanism, pushing the boundaries of what human even means.
Definitely no easy answers here. What stands out from all these sources, though, is the need for us to be engaged, to think critically, to really grapple with these questions proactively, like the Pew Report and AI versus humanity emphasized.
Absolutely. So maybe here's a final thought to leave everyone with, building on all this. Considering how fast everything is moving, what parts of our own humanity do you think are the most vital to hold on to, or maybe even to enhance as machines get smarter and smarter?
That's a big question, and probably one we'll all be grappling with for a long time to come.